I used to think carrying a Glock was the smartest move, but the more I've been digging into the newer snub revolvers, the more I'm realizing they solve problems pistols still stumble on. Between the six-shot designs, smoother triggers, and even red dot ready setups hitting the market in 2025, some of these little wheel guns are flat out smarter for everyday carry. What's up? This is Ted from Line 45. Today, I'm going to show you 6 tiny revolvers that, after shooting them and hearing what trainers actually carry, I trust more than some Glocks for straight-up reliability, concealment, and no-drama operation when things get ugly. Before we dive in, do me a solid. Smash that subscribe, tap the bell, hit all the dang buttons down there. You don't gotta, but it keeps this train rolling and lets me crank out more of this wild gun talk for y'all. All right, enough of that. Let's get back to it. Ruger LCRX. I carry a lot of guns, and I'll say this straight. The Ruger LCRX changed how I think about little revolvers. It's stupid light, points like a dream, and actually fixes a bunch of carry problems people complain about with micro Glocks. At about 13.5 ounces in the short barrel config, it's pocketable enough to forget it's there but still substantial enough to tame recoil compared to featherweight minis, which is why I toss it in my deep carry holster when I want no drama. The frame uses aerospace-grade aluminum and Ruger's clever polymer fire control housing, so the gun stays light while the fire control parts stay precisely indexed for a consistent trigger feel. That trigger isn't the old gritty DA hump either. Ruger's patented friction-reducing cam smooths the pull and helps avoid stacking, which means faster, more accurate follow-ups when you need them. The LCRX puts a stainless, PVD-finished, fluted cylinder under that lightweight body for long life and corrosion resistance, and Ruger dresses it with a Hogue Tamer monogrip that really cuts perceived recoil and helps me get back on target. It also gives you a pinned, replaceable ramp front sight and an external hammer if you want single-action snaps for a light, deliberate trigger, versatility you don't usually get from tiny pistols. Bottom line, for someone who wants a low-fuss, reliably shootable carry gun that still takes real defensive ammo and won't fight you when things get tense, the LCRX is a damn sensible alternative. Kimber K6S. I kept a lot of pistols in rotation before the Kimber K6S earned a permanent slot, and what hooked me was the way Kimber crammed 6 .357 capable rounds into a compact, surprisingly shootable package. Kimber bills the K6S as the lightest small-frame 6-round .357 Magnum revolver, and the line ships in 2, 3, and 4-inch barrel options, so you can pick ultra concealment or better controllability. At the range, the K6S's out-of-the-box behavior stood out. The double-action pull is smooth and consistent for a compact wheel gun. Kimber also offers double-action divided by single-action models if you want a light single-action break, and multiple hands-on reviews call the factory trigger one of the best you'll find on a mass-market defensive revolver. The cylinder release is a simple, rounded push button that opens cleanly and doesn't shred your thumb like older J-frame latches, and the replaceable sights plus usable factory grip options make it quickly practical for carry without immediate gunsmithing. Does the K6S beat a Glock for everybody? No, you give up the higher magazine counts and super fast slide manipulations that pistols offer. What you gain is a snag-free draw, a 6-shot cylinder that will run a wide range of defensive loads without feeding drama, and a revolver that simply keeps working under stress. In short drills, I got fast, repeatable hits and 0 stovepipes, and that predictable reliability is why I reach for the K6S when I want honest performance and low-maintenance carry. If you prioritize no-surprise function and 6 real rounds in a compact package, the Kimber K6S is a damn sensible alternative. Smith & Wesson Model 642. Smith & Wesson's Performance Center Pro Model 642 is one of the smartest tiny revolvers for deep concealment and honest defensive use. I carry it when I want the smallest snag-free profile that still accepts real defensive ammo, because this Pro variant ships with a 1.88-inch stainless barrel, a stainless cylinder cut for moon clips, and an aluminum alloy frame that keeps weight down around 14.5 ounces. The Pro Series matters because moon clips are included, and the cylinder is cut to accept them, so reloads under pressure are actually practical instead of a pain. Smith rates this model for continuous plus P use, and the Pro variant drops the internal lock, which is a real win for people who want fewer mechanical compromises in a carry gun. The Dow trigger is long but consistent, and that predictability beats a surprise light trigger in a high-stress moment. You can stage the pull and still get a solid pointable hit. An enclosed hammer keeps drawing smoothly and snag-free, so I can get shots on target faster out of deep pockets or tight holsters. If you want a tiny 5-shot wheel gun that handles +P defensive rounds, reloads quickly with moon clips, and minimizes carry headaches, the 642 Performance Center Pro is a practical, no-nonsense alternative that avoids trading function for size. Practice with moon clips turns those 5 rounds into a reload plan, and a spare clip is almost as convenient as a spare magazine. Taurus 856 Defender Toro. The Taurus 856 Defender Toro is one of those guns that actually made me rethink carrying a revolver instead of a Glock. I wanted a simple, reliable carry piece with modern features, and this one checked boxes I didn't think a wheel gun could. Out of the box, it's optics ready. No sketchy mounts, no sending the gun off to get milled. Just slap on a Holosun K-Series or Primary Arms MRSC, and you're running a red dot on a snub-sized revolver. That's a big deal for people like me who want fast target acquisition without fighting tiny fixed sights. The gun itself is a 6-shot 38 Special +P, so it's packing more capacity than a J-frame and still staying very carry-friendly. At about 23.5 ounces, the recoil is totally manageable, even with hotter loads. That 3-inch barrel in the Defender line makes a difference too. You're getting better velocity than a 2-inch snub and still small enough to conceal under a hoodie. The full underlug and long ejector rod also make reloads smoother than what you'd get on some older designs. I've seen some folks complain about a heavy trigger, and yeah, it's not as light as a tuned Smith, but it smooths out with use. Plus, it's a defensive gun, not a competition piece. What I like most is how damn practical it feels. I can carry it, shoot it accurately, and rely on it without worrying about finicky optics setups or feeding issues. For a revolver guy who also respects modern upgrades, this one makes real sense as an alternative to a Glock. Charter Arms Double Dog. I picked up the Charter Arms Double Dog because I wanted a compact wheel gun that gives me options. This is a convertible 5-shot revolver that ships with 2 cylinders, so you can run 357 Magnum or swap in a 9mm cylinder without moon clips, and the swap is a simple single-screw procedure that the company documents. Charter offers the Double Dog in 2.2 and 4.2-inch barrels, stainless or black passivate finishes, and walnut grips. The 2.2-inch model tips the scales in the low 20s ounces, while the 4.2-inch is heavier. It is a double-action, divided-by single-action gun with fixed sights and an MSRP in the low 600s, so you get durability and versatility for a price that is reasonable compared with optic-ready pistols. What stands out is the engineering. Porting on the barrel tames muzzle flip when I feed it full 357 loads. And the 9mm cylinder uses spring-loaded detents in the extractor star to hold rimless cases, so you do not need moon clips. That system removes moon clips, but it makes quick reloads slower, so I use speed strips or a magazine as a dispenser. On the range, it ran every load I fed in independent tests and write-ups, and the ported snub is shootable for a revolver that handles Magnum power. For folks tired of the Glock treadmill, the Double Dog is a legit alternative. It gives you Magnum punch, the option to shoot common 9mm without clips, maintenance, and a tactile, no-electronic simplicity I carry, and it carries well. Colt King Cobra Carry. I grabbed the Colt King Cobra Carry because I wanted a compact wheel gun that felt like a proper Colt and didn't act like a toy. This 2-inch, 6-shot package weighs in around 26 ounces and carries a kind of balance most snubbies lack, so it points fast, but still soaks up enough recoil to keep follow-ups honest. Shooting it told the story. The double-action pull measured about 8 pounds, 7 ounces on my Wheeler gauge, and it ran 38, special and hotter 357 loads, without complaint. I saw 2 to 3 inch groups on an Ohio silhouette with typical 158 grain 38 FMJ, and the Hogue pebble grips really helped bite into my hand and control Magnum snaps when I worked up into hotter loads. The cylinder rotates clockwise, and that bank vault lockup translates into tight groups and confidence that every round is properly locked and aligned for ignition. If you want a carry piece that blends old-school Colt feel with modern manufacturing, this is it. The King Cobra walks the line between classic and practical. It is not a featherweight pocket toy. It is a legitimate defensive gun that still conceals well under a cover garment and mates with common holsters like the Galco Combat Master. With a street price lower than a Python and fit and finish that screams quality, I would trust this as a 6-shot alternative to a micro Glock for someone who wants real. 357 capability, controllability, and classic revolver confidence. Ruger SP-101. I did not expect to fall for the Ruger SP-101, but after shooting a bobbed .357 at a Utah range, I changed my mind fast. The gun is brutally simple and built like a little tank. The SP-101 stainless steel frame and solid construction mean you can run hot magnum practice without babying the gun, and that extra mass actually reduces felt recoil compared with featherweight snubbies, so follow-ups are realistic. That weight is the point. A 2.25-inch SP-101 at about 25.5 ounces gives you a carryable gun that soaks power and stays accurate at defensive distances. The short sight radius forces you to focus on the front sight, which is why reps matter, but I was putting 5 rounds into roughly the same hole at 10 yards during initial drills. Ruger's push-in cylinder, latch, and clean lines make the gun easy to operate and maintain in the field. Choose an SP-101 if you want ammo flexibility and rock-solid reliability. It shoots 357 Magnum, 38 Special, even converted 9mm variants, and it does not care about weird loads the way automatics do. For someone who values durability, predictable function, and a gun that gives honest feedback instead of punishing you, the SP-101 is a better practical tool than a micro Glock for many carry plans. Ruger introduced the SP-101 in 1993, and it remains in production with barrel choices from 2 to 4 inches and multiple calibers, so you get a proven platform and real selection and value. Diamondback SDR. The Diamondback SDR caught my eye because it manages to squeeze 6 rounds of .357 Magnum into a package that still carries like a 5-shooter. Most snubbies in this size class top out at 5 shots, but the SDR's cylinder only measures 1.38 inches wide. For perspective, that's just 0.03 of an inch more than a Ruger SP-101, and way slimmer than a GP-100. You're basically getting an extra round without paying a penalty in bulk. Even with a forged stainless steel frame, the gun is surprisingly light. Mine hit the scale at just over 21 ounces empty, lighter than Kimber's K6S, but still plenty stout to soak up recoil. The trigger impressed me. Double action measured around 9.5 pounds, smooth through the pull, while single action broke crisp at just over 3. Not competition light, but absolutely workable for a defensive revolver. What separates the SDR from older snubs is the sight setup. Instead of a trench and a dull blade, Diamondback gives you a pinned fiber optic front in bright orange and a drift-adjustable rear with green fibers. Under range lighting and even in shade outdoors, those sights pop. I had no problem keeping groups inside a couple of inches at 7 yards with 38 Special Plus P, and the gun handled full-power .357 loads without beating me up. It's American-made, priced under $800, and carries like a true pocket revolver with the bonus of 6 shots on tap. For someone wanting a simple, reliable defensive gun instead of a Glock, the SDR makes a damn strong case.